final in the 12th seed, but actually a slight favorite over UNC Charlotte. The Rams last year, 30 seconds from the Final Four before that collapse against Stanford. Tremendous talent on this team, and nobody more talented maybe in the country than Lamar Odom. The basket and the foul tied the game at 60 after the free throw. Just under 4 minutes to play in the game. Joby Thomas, the freshman, struggled from the floor but hit that huge three. But UNC Charlotte up by a deuce. 20 seconds on the clock. Off the miss here. Antonio Reynolds-Dean with the putback of the Odom miss ties the game at 65 with 20 seconds to go. Thomas, the jumper for the win. Doesn't go. We go to overtime, tied at 65 in OT. The Rams could not cope with the effort, the offensive putback, the second chance points. Kelvin Price back it in. That was after a loose ball scramble, which fouled a miss. Herrick didn't like the call. Odom, is his Rams career over? Charlotte marches on 81-70. I said before, the Rams ever tournament appearance out of the Sun Belt Conference. Utah down 15-7. Arkansas State with a quick start until Alex Jensen knocked down the triple. 17 of his 18 in the first half before he got in foul trouble. Utah hustling, down by 1. Eric Beatty misses. Jensen to Miller. Miller misses the finger roll. Tony Harvey off the bench, a big game this afternoon. 18-zip run, Dick.
Tony Harvey, since he's been inserted in a lineup in the middle of the season, they haven't lost the game.
This little Chico Fletcher. The quick guardlet, 5'5" for Arkansas State, two-time player in the year of the conference. Look at him knife through for the layup.
No one realized how quick Arkansas State was, and they played that 2-3 zone, which really had Utah struggling first half until they got that 18-zip run. And this is it right here. When you see this guy, Mr. Andre Miller, going down the floor, Utah's offense kicked in.
4 steals from Miller, and then Hano Metala would finally get the shooting going, knocks down the triple. 19 in the second half, so he carried him in the second half. Jensen carried him in the first half. Dick mentioned the hand injury to Miller, who only took 4 shots in this game. Washington trying to find a way to contain Wally Szczerbiak. They had to have some film on this team. Really couldn't find a way to contain this guy, a guy from New York State who ends up going to Miami and has had a great career there. Deion Luton shot off the mark. Rob Mestis gets the ball to Szczerbiak in transition, gathers it, lays it in. 21 in the first half for Szczerbiak. Miami led by just 3, though. He was doing all the scoring. Donald Watt stepping up in the second half. Knocks down the triple, gets fouled. The 4-point play as his dad, Slick, looks on. Watts again. Watch him hang in the air, hit the floater here.
Little hang time, Watts, and his dad says, that's my guy.
3-point play. The Huskies led by 6, but Szczerbiak, even though they were tired, Szczerbiak just kept shooting and hitting. Back within 1 point there. Then Szczerbiak from the corner. Baseline, suddenly it's Miami up 5. Wally again. You can't blame him for not guarding him out there. That's deep.
It's Wally's world. You should have seen his father play at George Washington. His father was phenomenal.
Never saw Wally's dad play. Did he have those kind of moves? The lefty layup
he
from the
can
drive?
play. His dad can play.
As good as Wally, though. Seriously. I mean, come on. Watts cannot get off his shot in the final seconds here. Nice block. Szczerbiak with the block, and Miami. Between 43 points from Wally, marches on Washington. We said the second consecutive NCAA tournament, they go out with a 1-point loss.
Well, again, as we said earlier, if you establish an inside game with one of the only 2 centers in the country that plays as a legit center, you get into problems. At the same time, I really thought that Washington, with about 6 minutes to go in the game, they finally went to the 2-3 zone. Miami goes 0 for 2, but in the next possession, Wally hit that 3, and then they get out of the zone defense. I think if you stay in the zone at the end of the game, you control Wally. They just didn't do it, and this is why Miami wins the game.
Here's Charlie Coles afterward.
I looked across, and I seen Mr. Szczerbiak, and we've been together for 4 years. I'm just glad I didn't see Mr. and Mrs. Frierson, and I couldn't help but run halfway across the floor, make a fool out of myself, and point. And, hey, probably will never be back this way again, so maybe it's okay if I celebrate.
Had 43 points in the MAC final, a loss. Szczerbiak equals that total today. They will get Utah. I guarantee Rick Majerus, even with 2 days preparation, will know that Wally Szczerbiak just was not a good shooting game, folks. Delaware against Tennessee. 4 versus 13 game. Brandon Wortman steal the inbounds pass, misses the uncontested layup. And that way, senseless turnover on the 3-on-1. Jerry Green's team missed 17 of its first 20 shots. They can still play defense, though. Harris, the steal, loses his balance, dives for it. This will be ruled a jump ball. Well, both teams gave a good effort here, but nobody can shoot at all. Ball's down 2 in the first half. Harris, finally the triple. 37 turnovers combined for these teams here. Late in the first half, Charles Hathaway picks up the offensive foul, steps on the chest of Mike Pegues. No technical call. Vols led by 3 at the half. That was obviously an accident. Second half, Tennessee up. Brandon Wharton, the pretty move in there for the layup. He would have 16 points, all of them in the second half. The next possession, Harris to Isaiah Victor, who came off the bench for a big game. And then the block on Pegues. Victor, 14 points, 14 rebounds, a front court player who can give you that spark off the bench. And Tennessee needed some kind of spark. They get their first NCAA win since 1983. We're 2-7 their last 9 games. Just had a tough time scoring in the Big Ten tournament against Michigan State. But this was, in the words of Dig Bennett, embarrassing against the Bears of Steve Alford. Sure, they played good defense, but this wasn't always about good defense here. Badgers just playing sloppy in the first half. The ball stolen by Ron Bruton all the way in for the punch. The Bears had the 4-point lead in the early going. The Badgers just could not buy a hoop. Mark Verschaw, wide open, clank on the easy banker. 5 for 24 from the floor in the first half. The scowl says it all. Meanwhile, the Bears, Allen Phillips nails the big triple, a 21-12 game. Neither team in a rush to make shots in the first half. Badgers, first possession, second half. Sean Mason finally hits a triple. They cut it down to a 6-point game with the Bears. Kevin Ault drives, gets the hoop, gets the foul. All 10 points and 14 rebounds for a backcourt player. Bears up 11. 2 minutes to play. Ryan Bettenhausen drives and banks it. Steve Alford, certainly a hot coaching candidate. Dick, you love to talk about the rumor mill. He's rumored to go another place in the Big Ten. He knocked this season and then battled their way into the NCAA field. Patriots huddle up here, but then Melvin Levitt kind of burst their hopes early. The steal and the dunk. The Bearcats really jumping on George Mason here. Price dishing off to Rob Anderson, but Levitt out of nowhere to make the block and talk some noise early on.
Yeah, he played really well, 11 big points, but take a look at their rebounding. 34-17 just in the first half. George Mason comes out and starts the game shooting 2 for 16. Not too good.
Yeah, they're down 41-17 at half.
You know, everything you have to look at is personnel. Jimmy Larrañaga doesn't have the athletes in Cincinnati, so I'm not shocked by this score or what's happened out there. The bottom line is, in coaching, if you can get maximum out of your people, you've done a great job. You can't expect George Mason to hang with Cincinnati.
They're not a pretty team offensively. They weren't in the Colonial Final. They do give good effort, but they felt they were kind of a mirror image of Cincinnati's style, fellas. And you're right, personnel, a clear edge to the Bearcats.
Well, Peter Michael absolutely was sensational. You talk about an impact junior college player, along with Francis Bootsy Thornton and certainly Chris Porter. Peter Michael came up big in this game.
There was, again, another team really struggling out of the box offensively as the Bearcats clamped down on them. 5 of 29, Digger.
Well, when you take a look at what Cincinnati brings to the table, they're really a solid, aggressive defensive team. But I still think Melvin Levitt, who went 0 for 9 shooting threes against Charlotte in the Conference USA Championship, that will be a problem for them when they face a better team. It's going to be their perimeter shooting. Yeah, they can beat you up on the board. Yes, they can run and shoot. But can you shoot at half court when you play a solid defensive team?
I agree with Digger. I think if Cincinnati's going to make any noise, they got to make shots. If they don't make shots, they do it defensively. They do it with a lot of intimidation, aggressive play. But the bottom line is when they struggle, they don't make shots. And they made shots against Duke when they beat them that first time.
They'll have to make shots probably against Temple, right? Against that matchup zone. We'll talk more about that Cincinnati-Temple matchup as they hook up once again because the Owls took on Kent here. Here's an interesting quote from Pepe Sanchez. He said, quote, "All I've heard about since I've gotten here is how tough Temple is now. No one wants to play against us. And since I've been here, we haven't gotten out of the second round. Let's do something to make people fear us." Well, Temple would maybe make a run this year. I got to get past Kent, though, a pesky team out of the MAC. Pepe Sanchez on the pick and roll. He's going to take it in his own hands. Knocks down the triple, an 11-point lead very early on for Sanchez and the Owls. But the lead got cut down to 4. Sanchez is trapped here, but look at the rainbow jumper go down.
I'll tell you, Chris, for Temple to be effective, they got to get great guard play. Look at that pass by Sanchez to the interior. Really a great look, but he and Brokenborough played well today.
His finish there after the behind-the-back pass. Andrew Mitchell hits the long 3 at the end of the half. It was only a 31-27 game at halftime. Kent, despite the tough start, hanging in there.
Well, they came out with a press, and they also went to a 2-3 zone, and you challenge Temple's perimeter shooting because once they start shooting the threes, they either make them or they just go in the tank and not make them. But today, they made them, and I think that was a difference in the game. They were 5 for 8 shooting threes early in the game, and Temple's defense with Pepe Sanchez, an attack inside to Lamont Barnes, points in the paint. They were solid, a complete game plan, but can they show the consistency game in and game out?
There in Oklahoma, a team that had been knocked out in the first round 4 consecutive years. trying to pull the upset. Eduardo Nájera steps back, knocks down the triple. First lead of the game there at 49-46. Then Jason Terry, the steal the other way. Jason's mom loves it. In fact, his son came to play in the second
Mom's
half.
dancing, baby, dancing.
Arizona up 1, 48 seconds to go. Michael Wright on the inbound pass, steps over the line. Oklahoma gets the ball back on the possession. Eric Martin misses the three. Nájera misses. Ryan Humphrey the tip in. Ryan Humphrey the game-winning tip in, 61-60. Terry tries to answer for the Cats in the lane. The off-balance shot doesn't go. The tip off the front rim by Jefferson. That doesn't go. And Oklahoma shocking Arizona. Wildcats had to feel confident coming in. 61-60 is the final there.
Time to Arizona. Tubby Smith knows how to get it done. National champions last year against New Mexico State. Now Scott Padgett bombs away with the long three. They have a 4-point lead. 11 points when Wayne Turner to Jamal McGlure, and the young Canadian banks it in off the glass. Kentucky bench are up by 13 at that point. Evans in with the steal to Wayne Turner, who has played in the national championship game every year he's been at Kentucky, looking to make it 4 in a row, 25 run at that point. They hold off New Mexico State. 82-60 is the final here.
I'll tell you one thing, John, a great performance by the three seniors.
Villanova, John Celestin. Villanova down throughout most of this game. Comes in with a steal here. Howard Brown cannot convert. Jason Harrison ahead to Marcus Hicks. And Ole Miss would take a 7-point lead at that point, but Villanova is not done. Celestin, again, who's had a great year, to Malik Allen. And Allen will send it off the glass, leans in, clanks it home. Down to 2 for Ole Miss. Under 12 seconds to go. Celestin with the miss. Howard Brown with the putback. It won't go. Ole Miss hangs on for the win here, 72-70. Think about this. Villanova, since winning the national championship back in '85, they haven't gotten past the second round in this decade.
Well, Miss just really punished them on the points in a paint.
And Chris Clack here, 31 seconds to go. Texas is down by 3. Watch this. Clack, the nice find. Clay launches the three-pointer, and it's
Nothing
good.
but nylon, baby. Trifecta time.
And ties the game for Rick Barnes. He wants more time on the clock. Mayfield then with a drive to Cameron Stevens. Little baseline jumper up and good. Purdue with a 2-point lead for Gene Cady.
Yeah, but correct, Jerron Cornell. He made a big assist play and a turnover here at the end. Purdue gets it away. And understand, hey, they were really lousy at the end of the year. 11 losses, and now, Dick, they get this win. First round, getting by.
I'll tell you one thing, Digger and John. Purdue is the only team that came in.
Charleston was down by as many as 26. They came back, though. Cedric Weber with his 4th three-pointer. Charleston is within 6. Then on the inbounds play, the ball is knocked away. Jamel President lays it in. They're within 2. 1 minute left. Tulsa has a 3-point lead. Too much underneath, though. Eric Coley gets the ball off the board, tips it in. Tulsa goes on to win. Charleston with a great run, but they simply ran out of steam.
Well, Cedric Weber didn't score in the first half, but understand, Michael Reffin really punished Charleston.
Games, it always goes #1's way. Mateen Cleaves with a great steal. This guy has to be the best point guard in the country. Quickness, toughness, everything. Takes it in, up by 5. And then Mateen Cleaves tries to put it up and in. Morris Peterson underneath for the rebound. Fights it up. Drops it in. Peterson with 8 points. Spartans had a big lead. And then Cleaves again with the rebound. Gets it to Charlie Bell. Charlie Bell takes it for the layup. He would leave the game after spraining his ankle, but the Spartans coast to the victory.
What's amazing about Mateen Cleaves, he doesn't have to score for this team to win. They got
Unlikely to knock them off, Florida A&M. Trajan Langdon, take the weekend off. We don't need you. Bad angle. Nate James, William Avery, and that was a deep 3. Avery with 15 points. Florida A&M, or either Florida A&M, you kept it close for a while, but too many deep ones. Carol Sheen Bettier and Coach K sank 11 of their first 14 shots. And the Avery, the nice pass to Carrawell, part of a 23-0 run. Florida A&M, no match. Duke, though, he went a season where he did not win a game in the Big East, and here he is as a #2 seed. That would be the good news. The bad news, he's also in the East where Duke is. But Johnny Hemsley, everybody knows about Tim James on this team, but Hemsley can knock him down from all over the court.
Yeah, 7 for 9. I mean, tell me, you got to get the threes going, and Johnny Hemsley really got it going hot. 7 for 9, 26 points.
Hemsley ended up with 9 threes on the night, at one point hitting 5 in a row as Miami routes